I didn't say anything inappropriate and you're still laughing.
I know. It's just that face. It just makes me happy. How are you this morning?
Wonderful, wonderful. Welcome to the show with no name, everybody. I've got an echo there, which means you need to turn your volume down, I think.
Let's see how we go there. How's that? A bit better?
Oh, I'll let you know in a minute. Not now, but in it. Yes, that's better. Thank you very much, Lee.
Beautiful.
Welcome to the show with no name, everybody. As you can see, I don't know if Adaire's put my name up because I can't see, but she's Adaire Palmer. I'm Theonie Roussianos. I don't know which way we're pointing, but that's all cool. Am I pointing the right way?
No.
And welcome to the show with no name. So we put this show together. It's been going now for roughly 18 months. I've decided I'm going to do a search and get every single show that we've done and do something exciting with them. So we put this show together initially just because we've both got, in different ways but similar ways, we've both got backgrounds in, doing all sorts of things for the community, and we know that there are other amazing people. Speaking of Glenn Mitchell, thank you.
There we are, Glenn, as president of Rotary in Tea Tree Gully. Shout out to you. I gave you a shout out last night as well at a networking group I was presenting at. So great to see you here, Glenn. Appreciate you being here.
So we put this show together, and it's called The Show with No Name because it evolved quicker than we could come up with a name, and then the name stuck. We put this show together because we know there are lots of people out there doing amazing things for their communities, whether it be for their next door neighbour, whether it be to raise awareness for something, or raising money for a charity, a profit for purpose organisation, or just doing something for the greater good, just to help someone out in their community. And it's not always about raising money. Sometimes it's just about getting a message out there. And today is before we do go on, this is a bit that I do often forget, and I'm not going to forget. If you know anybody who needs to see this information, let's face it, you do. Hello, Cheryl. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for connecting us.
We're going to tell them what the information is first, though.
We do. Well, I think you need to share it anyway, because it's about people doing something for the greater good.
That's
and
right.
There's so much bad news out there. It's nice to share something nice that someone's doing. So don't worry about what it's about. I promise you're going to love it anyway.
It's always great stuff, yes.
And so make sure that people see this. You can tag them, whatever. And if you're watching over on one of the pages we've cross-posted to, make sure you're watching over on the originating broadcast. The link is above, I'm assuming. I haven't checked, on mytimetv.live. And if you're finding us over on the Binge Networks, welcome. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, so just Cheryl, hello. Thank you for joining us. We are dragging our feet a little bit here because our guest is still working out how to jump in by phone. So Theonie might go there. So Theonie's going to go and do some troubleshooting with our guest, and I will I'm just going to pop you on I'll mute you there, and then I'll introduce it. We'll just leave you on the screen. I can see I muted Theonie. Normally Theonie's muting me. I love this. It's great. I've got control of the dashboard. Okay. All right. Serious stuff here. This girl that we are talking to today, if we can get her in the broadcast, which Theonie is doing right now. Theonie, do you want me to put you on me on solo, or you're cool to do that in the background? Yeah. So this is what we call LOL, learning out loud, laughing at ourselves, and troubleshooting and that is very transparent. Joanne, hello and welcome. Great to see you here as well. Just let us know where you are dialing in from or watching from. It'd be great to and also what the weather's like, because I like ribbing Theonie. It looks like she's got sleeves on today. It looks like it might be a bit chillier in Adelaide than what it is up here. It's beautiful up here in Queensland. So I'll be back there next week. So I'll bring my woolies. She's lucky she's muted. Okay, let me introduce Rosemary. And while Theonie actually finds Rosemary and brings her into the broadcast. So Rosemary actually suffered, it's Rosemary Jacobs, and she suffered a workplace injury that left her with a permanent injury to her shoulders and a compression fracture to her neck. She is what's called an incomplete paraplegic. Now, Rosemary subsequently felt the need to reach out to other people with similar experiences. This led to the creation of Craig's Table, an initiative that combines support services to re-engage the worker in the idea of recovery and social enterprises that help re-establish the necessary confidence, skills, and habits to return to work. Rosemary understands the journey of recovery from personal experience and uses that knowledge to assist others in their journey of return to life, community, and employment. Rosemary is internationally recognized for her work within the injured worker community. She is sought after for her thoughts on initiative ways to reduce and remove long-term impact of social and self-exclusion after a workplace injury. She is also an international speaker, and she sits on 3 international committees within the injured worker community. Rosemary has a Pride of Australia pin for her work within the injured worker and deceased worker community, and she's established the Deceased Workers Memorial Forest in Adelaide's Parkland. She sat on the National Committee to establish the National Deceased Workers Memorial in Canberra as well. She wrote Craig's Table as a way to fill the gap between mainstream workers' compensation and the needs of the injured worker community. And we still don't have... Theonie is looking there. I can see. I'm actually going to unmute you. Theonie, we haven't got Rosemary yet?
No, she's working on it. She is just trying to log in via Chrome now. So hopefully she won't be much longer. But while we're waiting for her, so what you said there about social inclusion post-injury, that can be a big thing.
So we've got a new Joanne's here from Newcastle.
I know she doesn't listen to me. So you can't hear me? Am I not there?
I unmuted you. I'm just trying to figure out this. I'm back. All right. Okay. So, yes, it can be a big thing. Tell me about the injury, what you were saying.
Anything with people when they've been through, especially quite severe injuries, and you just think about one day, all of a sudden you've got this completely normal social life, and then something happens, and overnight that just completely changes, impacted family, social, everything just changes overnight. I'm just going to troubleshoot. You might want to mute me again.
So we do have, while we're waiting, we do have Joanne here. Now I can say it. Now Theonie is muted, from New South Wales and Newcastle. Welcome. And Glenn is weeding in the rain in Adelaide. So it's raining at Adelaide. And if you are here from anywhere else, please jump in and let us know where you're from. We are waiting for our guest, who is Rosemary Jacobs, and she's created Craig's Table, which is it's like a way to fill the gap between mainstream workers' compensation and the needs of the injured worker community. And we are really hoping to see, I might just share my screen, so we'll give you a little bit. Let me see here. Share the screen, so even in Rosemary's absence, we can get this started. So I just pop this screen up here. Let's see if it's going to let me do that. There we go. So this is, I don't know if you can see this very well. I might have to pop that like that. And you can see Theonie just chatting away, just trying to talk Rosemary off what do you call it, off the ledge. So I'm going to actually just share this, see if I can make it a little bit bigger. Whoops, wrong one. There we go. So I hope you can see that okay. Please do remember to share this information or make sure that people see this. This is great, the power of 5. If you just let 5 people know and they let 5 people know and they let 5 people know, we do get the word out there further. If you can hear any screaming in the background, that's my grandchild upstairs. She's probably due for a morning nap. Anyway, this is real life and this is what we do when we're doing what we do. So I just... Rosemary, this is Rosemary. I'm assuming it's Rosemary. I actually haven't met her, but I'm sure we'll find out when she does end up popping into the broadcast in real life. So, and she is, she sent me this PDF and it says about the social and economic impact report summary. It's not a huge document, but she's saying that here that Craig's Table is the first injured workers social hub to be established in New South Wales. And so I'm just looking. I think Theonie is saying, unmute me. Ha ha ha. Okay, I'll unmute you. She's going to get me back, I know. I'm going to be in big trouble.
We have difficulty getting Rosemary in, but I've got her on WhatsApp on speakerphone, which is the next best thing.
Beautiful. So can Rosemary just confirm that this photo of her, this image, I'm assuming it's her, in the PDF that she sent through, if that is her, then we actually have a photo of her, an image of her on the screen as well.
So is that you with the tats?
Yes, that's me.
Okay, welcome.
Did you just say that wouldn't be Corey?
I said that would be Corey. Corey's got all the tattoos.
Lovely tats. All right, so I was just going through. I'll just leave it on there. Now we'll just have a chat with you. Now we have you there, so people can actually see your image as well as hear you speak. So thanks for joining us, Rosemary, and thank you for your patience with working the technology. I think the last thing you said to Theonie was, I'm a was it technophobe or?
No.
I'm a technophobe.
Yeah.
My husband's actually banned me from telling anybody that he's a Microsoft technician. so it's kind of like, he always tells me to step away from the technology because I understand none of it.
I love it. Talk about chalk and cheese.
I know. Oh. So a bit about you. Oh, go on.
No, you go. You just go. It's all good.
Well, a bit about your background. You're in New South Wales now. Did you originate from Adelaide, Rosemary?
I started in Adelaide with a group called Work Injured Resource Connection, which is the group that I founded. I started because I'm an injured worker and I didn't like the way the workers' compensation system didn't fit me and I didn't fit it. And so I simply took on the challenge of writing a program, writing a system that actually supports the injured worker community, the employers, and as a last stop, also the workers' compensation system. So it's actually a better fit for everybody.
And how did you come up with the name of Craig's Table, Rosemary?
Craig's Table is actually named in honour of a young friend of mine. Craig is a real person, or he's sadly no longer with us, but he was a real person. He's the son of a friend of mine who was one of my mentors as I was studying and researching what I believe needed to be put into the system. So when we lost Craig, I simply asked his parents if I could honour him by naming my program in honour of Craig. And because Craig worked in hospitality, it just made sense to call it Craig's Table.
Love that. Love that. And so when did this start, and what kind of, so you are a profit for purpose, or not for profit as some people call them, organization, is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, we are a for purpose, not for profit association.
Yeah.
And that brings with it a whole litany of other challenges that you've got to get your head around. Because you're always reporting to a federal government somewhere, federal department somewhere about what you're doing, why you're doing it, all the rest of that.
Yeah.
And trying to explain to federal bureaucracy that the injured worker community are an at-risk community within the scope of social environment. It's quite difficult to sit there with someone who doesn't understand the pressures of a workers' compensation claim, what that has on someone's life, and how they can lead to all sorts of emotional and mental unwell issues, and how that pressure impacts the wider family and, of course, the wider community. It's especially when there is no official data collected on any of it. So you're having to rely on a whole lot of goodwill and information that I've been able to collect over many years to finally get them to understand that, yes, the injured worker community is a real community, and it really is probably the largest community in Australia that is actually not recognised or hasn't been recognised until now.
So what work do you do to support the injured community? So when an injured worker comes to you, what happens?
The first thing we do is we hug them. We tell them they're welcome home, and we're quite serious about that, because they feel very, very displaced. They don't actually have a place to belong, really, or somewhere that they can go, that they can just be who they are. So we welcome them in, we sit down, and we do, probably for the first few hours when they're with us, we do nothing but talk. They talk, we listen, we answer questions. They talk, we listen, we answer questions, and we give them that safe place to be. And we dry tears, we hold hands, we do a lot of hugging. We really do a lot of hugging, because it's important that they feel that they are finally safe, and that somebody really does understand where they are and what's going on in their life and in their children's lives or in their grandchildren's lives. So it's in many ways it's no different to any other for-purpose association. Once you know that you've actually got a place to belong, you gravitate to it. So that's really what we do, and then we dust them off, shine them up a little bit, help them understand that they are a person with an injury. They are not their injury.
Yeah, not letting it define them.
Yeah, and that's so vital, that they actually understand that they are more than the sum of their injuries. They are still the same living, breathing, loving human being that they were pre-injury. And they're entitled to have their dreams and their goals and their aspirations for themselves and for their family. Nobody can take that away from them. They just forget that they have the right to hope.
So, Rosemary, it's an amazing thing that you're doing, and I really commend you for what you are doing. Can you I love the idea of the hugs. I mean, that's one of my big visions, is I just have a big world group hug, But so what you're saying really resonates in the fact that you see them as people first, and I think with I was going to ask, what else does it look like with, do you have support? Do you do online? Do you have coffee meetings or catch-ups, or do you have workshops? How does that look, and is it location based?
Okay. When they came in as participants, they go through our training program. So they do a leadership day, and the leadership day is about leading themselves. It's not going out there and conquering the world or doing anything else. It's about putting them learning that they are still a leader in their own life, and they have that ability to lead their own life. We do emotional intelligence training, and that's about helping them understand that they will react to something, and that how they react, they can control. They can understand it. They can step back away from it. They can say, okay, yeah, I can deal with that, but I will deal with it next week. I'm not dealing with it right now. I need time to work my way through it. So all the stuff that EI comes with, they actually learn how to do all of that. And it can be confronting because we all react differently to different things. So when you suddenly find that there's a trigger and you can control that, it can actually be quite confronting for you. So there's always that bit of a breakthrough, bit of a setback, bit of an aha moment before the whole thing really settles inside them, and they can decide, for themselves really what they want to do, how they want to do that. We give them accredited training certificates, so they will do a first aid course, they'll do a fire warden course, and those certificates are internationally recognised, so they know that they can actually do something that is actually meaningful, not just in their life but in the life of others. We give them basic computer skills. It's more about, for the computers, it's more about them learning where they're at and what more they need to be able to learn to do if that's what they want to do.
So do you obviously need to, these courses aren't free, they need to be paid for.
No, they're all paid for by the system.
Yes, so there
is a fee for placement at Craig's Tables.
Yes, so the injured worker needs to pay the fee, or do you get grants and things that cover?
That is actually the cost is actually covered by the claims agent themselves.
Okay.
So the placement, we don't call them injured workers. We call them placements, or we call them family, or we call them whatever nickname we give anyone. I know there's one person listening probably right now, and he knows who he is, and I just refer to him as the Princess, and he loves it.
I love it.
I'm actually not there at the moment. I'm at my unit in Parramatta, so I know when I get down to the office shortly, he'll be the first person lining up for a hug. I know that.
So do you?
I just want to just say Michelle's here from Melbourne as well. So welcome to Michelle. So I was going to say international, we're interstate. South Australia, Queensland, Victoria, New South Wales are represented here today on the show with no names.
So now with respect to, so do you need to do any fundraising to fund any of the projects and courses as well?
We're always looking for ways to fundraise, because we run our own, and this is quite unique to Craig's Table in the injured worker community. We run our own food hamper program, because oddly enough, if you don't have a healthcare card, you can't go to any of the food hamper or food rescue outlets and say we need help. They actually get their funding via the federal government through the health card system. But because the injured worker community don't have a health card healthcare card through Centrelink, they can't access it. So we've had to start our own food hamper program. And so we're always in need of fundraising for that, because it takes a lot to keep the pantry, and our pantry's never been full, which is kind of heartbreaking when we know how many members of the injured worker community just in the Greater Sydney Basin, that it's just under 30,000 people, and we don't service anywhere near that amount of people because simply we don't have the infrastructure to do so.
So how many people would you have walking through your door on a daily basis, whether they're new people or people who are there on a regular basis?
We get very few. Hang on, excuse me a minute. Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
I didn't want to cough in your ear. I try really hard not to. No, we don't get anywhere near enough people coming through the door, simply because the injured working community simply isn't as connected as some of the other communities are. And that's got a lot to do with the public perception that they are on a taxpayer-funded holiday and that they really should be back at work. You know, there's a whole lot of complex needs within all of that is just never discussed. Actually, I was having a part of a discussion this morning with someone from the ACCC about the needs of the injured worker community to be recognised at a national level as a real community that are at risk of every social ill that Australia has got, everything from personal poverty to bankruptcy to suicide, simply because of the pressure that they're under. This is a side of workers' compensation that never gets spoken about.
Yeah, Rosemary, I think I would love to have you back, and we can see if we can sort out the technology and actually have the screen with us.
I have an idea.
When Theonie gets an idea, we're either in trouble or in for something really cool. What is it?
It'll be really good. We could interview both Rosemary and Corey and use Corey's Facebook account to log in so that technology won't be a problem. And you can sit side by side. We can talk to you both.
Yeah, we can do that.
All right. So let's and also thank you so much for Rosemary for jumping in at the very last moment and saying, yep, you just talk about spontaneity. We did have somebody that lined up for this morning who wasn't able to pop in. So thank you so much, and we will organise for you to come back with Corey. And big shout out to Cheryl. Cheryl's here, Cheryl Pincus, and she was the one that when we said, does anyone know of anyone who would like to, get some airtime on the show with no name? Cheryl just came up with Rosemary, and Rosemary said, yes, I'll do it, and thank you so much. So on that
Corey's saying that they can do that, so we'll have them both on and interview them both in the not too distant future, and then we can, see your face while we talk to you as well. You're like the dentist.
Yeah, we can't show you a face from me.
But
if there is anybody else,
with you again soon.
No worries. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
So, if there is anybody else out there who would like to have some exposure, some brand awareness, or some looking for sponsors, donations, or volunteers, then you're more than welcome to contact Theonie or myself, and we will schedule you in to have your own broadcast.
Yes, and we will troubleshoot to make sure we get you on and get your story out there.
Well, we normally do that beforehand. This was so last minute, and Rosemary just said, yes, I'll do it. And it was like, yes, and then we're just madly playing catch up. But this is new technology, and we're using it for good and not evil. So, so we do appreciate your understanding and patience with us as we get this sorted out.
And this just goes, so if anybody out there is thinking, I've got an idea for a TV show, I want to do a regular Facebook show, but you're scared of the technology, here's proof that you don't need to. If things go wrong and don't work out, there's always another way to make it happen. And I mean, things have fallen apart for us many times, but we always find a way to, to work. We always find workarounds. There's always, you just need to take a deep breath and go, you know what, it's going to work. Nobody's going to die if the live broadcast, breaks.
And that's it. And at the very, very, last resort, we will reschedule. But, so there's always options. But you saw it here live, and you saw us troubleshooting, and you saw what we came up with as a result. So I know, Theonie, you have to run, and I did want to just have a shout out to Katie. Katie, pop back. When have we got Leanne on again? She's Wednesday night.
Every day.
She's also, and Roz is here. Roz is also here on Tuesday. So we do have a look in the events, Katie, for your favourite psychic medium or tarot card reader, because we do have a few.
And Monday nights we have Annette and Leanne as well.
That's right, we do too. So please just check in the events and you'll see when their shows are on. So we are broadcasting on My Time TV. This is the show with no name. We are syndicated out to over 50 channels of TV on demand through the Binge Network syndication program. And we are also on Amazon Fire with...
If you don't know what Amazon Fire is, that makes two of us. So Adaire said, let's do it.
This is all very new, so we're finding out as we go along. You know what they say yes and then figure it out later. That's what we do. Have a great week, everybody. We will see you next week for the show with no name on Thursday morning at 9:30 a.m. Australian Central Standard Time.
Australian Central Daylight Savings Time.
That one too.
Just because you're in Queensland and you don't observe daylight savings doesn't mean
I'll be back next week. I'll come and I'll sit with you at your table and we'll squish into that little area and we'll do it together.
Does that mean you'll listen to me when I'm talking?
Well, you won't be able to mute me unless you do this. Okay, all right. Have a great week, everyone. See you.